Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, still have the same set and tire that I was talking about with the recent Calgary Flames trade video between the Calgary Flames and the Philadelphia Flyers, I meant to say. Well, in this video, kind of talk about sort of Calgary Flames, as the Calgary Flames do own the Calgary Hitmen, Calgary Wranglers, Calgary Roughnecks, and the Calgary Stampeders. I'm going to talk about this thing called Calgary Flex Club. Yeah, it's an interesting thing that got introduced in the Calgary market, and actually was the first time I heard about this was actually at a Calgary Stampeders game in the summer, and I'll give you my take and feelings on review on the Flex Club, and did I buy a Flex Club yet this season. But the idea of the Flex Club, and I know the Calgary Stampeders this past season started introducing more game packs, like a 3 or 5 game pack, where if you're not able to commit to a full season, you can at least buy a partial pack to get to a few games. And I did suggest that with the Calgary Roughnecks, that this past season, or last season I should say, I decided to cancel my Calgary Roughnecks season tickets. A combination of, well, the one complaint that I still have this season with the Calgary Roughnecks, as the schedule is too bunched together, where you have a game and then there's no game for a month, and then suddenly you get like 2 or 3 games in a week, no game for a month. But I think that's part of the challenge when you have a busy building with the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Wranglers all playing in the same building, plus some other non-sports related events. But they introduced a Flex Club where you had a choice of 78 games, all the Dome, where you had a choice to pick games, and you buy, it's kind of a credit card, and you had 2 choices of, you had a $200 or $500 Flex Club card, which allows you to have access to buy games of those 3 teams. And then they said there were 78 games between, the Hitmen, Wranglers, and Roughnecks. And there was an incentive that if you were able to buy a $500 card, Flex Club card, I believe it was by the middle of September, they would have thrown in a $50 food voucher card. Kind of similar to what you get if you bought a Calgary Roughnecks season tickets, and I believe you also get that same if you bought a whole season ticket with the Hitmen, Wranglers, or even the Flames. However, his name was Tristan Swindon, and it's been great to chat with him. I mean, this sounded like a great idea at the time when the Flex Club first came out, and I chatted with him. There were a few things that, personally I actually didn't buy a Flex Club card. Not because I wasn't interested, but just, too many financial commitments, and that was another reason why I decided to cancel my Calgary Roughnecks season tickets. I was only able to go to 1 game last season, and this season I did go to the home opener, but it's not looking good. I'm going to be going to any more games for the Roughnecks this season I'm always much busier in the wintertime. And then you got to factor in cold and flu season, which for the most part I haven't been hit as hard with cold and flu season, but when you're also busy with errands and getting back to work after the holidays and busy, you also do get tired on the weekends, or I find that's more the case as you get older. And then the fact that I'm planning on going, I have my trip booked for Toronto in March. I wasn't able to actually buy a Flex Club, and it actually, if you were able to buy a Flex Club card, you have until the end of March to be able to use it. And it's one of those cases where if you don't use those credits, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. And it's a revolving credit card, that's what it is. But the other thing that might be, I'm not too sure how it would work, but for me, when it comes to season tickets, always with the Stampeders, And the times that I had Roughnecks season tickets, I didn't pay it all up front. I paid it all in installments just because it's easier to budget for me that way, and it was no interest. Well, the Flex Club, they only had a $200 and a $500 amount. I'll put the description below. I'm not sponsored, I'm just giving my review, and this is the first season that the Calgary Flames Sports and Entertainment has done this, and maybe there'll be a few other quirks that they might change considering how popular it is or not. That it would have been a little easier if I would have been able to use it in installments, payment installments, be able to buy my games, or I'm not too sure how you would force that. I know the other thing that I've done more to make it easier, because I was able to do it with my Toronto trip last year, and this upcoming trip is actually I was able to, I know I do pay a little interest, and it's worth it to break up the payments, and you do the payment installments. They call it buy now, pay later, but it's the, pay in installments, and I almost feel that's almost more essential now these days, just because of, cost of living and that. But it's pretty much you have to pay all up front for the Flex Club card, and as my financial commitments, cost of living, and the fact that, well, I'm going to Toronto in March, and then this December I had to renew my mortgage, so my mortgage payments are a lot more, and then just with the general cost of living, everything goes up. So it's an alternative, I'm going to say, to get season tickets, be able to pick and choose games, but I like it for that sense. But the other part was just being able to try to come up with it all at once, and when money is tighter, that can be a challenge, so that's something to keep in mind. And then, and to say, in the wintertime, I feel I'm a lot busier, especially in the weekend. In the summer, maybe it's also just the, fact that it's warmer outside, and it feels like in the summer, because it's easier for me to go to football games, I find. I think it's just the time of the year, pace of the year, and the fact that the games aren't as bunched together for the Stampeders. I know that there's a few weeks that they'll be, when you look at the CFL schedule, that they have a couple of weeks on the road and a couple home games, but it doesn't seem to be as ridiculous as the Roughnecks, because I did go to the home opener this season, and that was during winter break after Christmas, but the Roughnecks had 2 or 3 weeks on the road. They did have 2 home games in January that's already played out, but that's after having another 2-3 weeks on the road. And then February, well, now that we're into February, the Roughnecks have 3 games in a week, and that can be a potential problem. I know that they have the game on Valentine's Day night, which is a Friday this year. Then they have a game on Sunday, but that's Family Day weekend, and then Saturday of that week. I felt that's so bunched together, and already looking at potential other plans, and I know there's some other plans that I'm still want to put myself out there and go to some singles events. There's some singles events and potentially Chinook Blast at that same time, so that's the thing when you have a bunched up schedule. And then after February, there's no game for a month, and then in March, guess what? The couple games that the Calgary Roughnecks have, well, that's when I'm going to be in Toronto, so I'm going to miss those games. And then the last game of the regular season at home for the Calgary Roughnecks is Saturday of Easter weekend, and I may or may not go to that game depending on when we have Easter dinner. I think we had Easter dinner in my family on Good Friday, so I might be able to go to that game, because I always get a complimentary game with my Stampeders season tickets. But then going back to the Flex Club, the Roughnecks schedule is still too bunched together. Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday nights, weekend nights, which that's the other thing that's critical with my schedule, considering I'm up early in the morning. But when you have a bunched up schedule and you're too busy, and then what was the case last year was when you have a bunched up schedule, too busy, and you're sick, well, you need some time to recover, and that's why I didn't go to many games. And then same with Hitmen and Wranglers. They tend to have like either consecutive games on weekday nights, or sometimes it's the Wranglers even have bunched up schedules where they have a game Friday and then a game Sunday, and Sunday's usually late enough when you have to worry about work and the work week ahead. So I still like the Flex Club, the potential of the Flex Club for, it's an alternative to getting season tickets. I think with my schedule and life, it seems like I probably would get more use out of it if I'm able to come up with $200 up front and probably pick my games in the fall. Because that seems to be my schedule and the pattern. Unless the Roughnecks, when away, can have a little more balanced and not bunched up schedule. Because those are the games obviously I would want the most. I still like going to the Roughnecks games. I still like Calgary sports. It's just unfortunately, budget, time, and that gets in the way. Plus this, working thing, that tends to take up a lot of your time as well. But have you used the Calgary Flex Club? Have you enjoyed it? What else could you throw in to suggest improvements, or is it fine as it is? I mean, everyone's situations are different, schedules are different. That it's a nice alternative to having season tickets. It works like a revolving credit card, but then there was that part about end of March. If I haven't used any money, it's gone. That's that part that worries me. I know that maybe they might put in a clause that you might be able to carry some funds over. It's kind of like similar to my health Spain account that I have at work, that I'm able to carry forward some funds from the previous year, but it's only carry over for 1 year, and then any funds that you carried over didn't use, it's only good for another month for claims, in the previous calendar year if you follow along. Could Flex Club do something like that? Or, that's the thing, it's easier for me to budget for my season tickets to pay in installments. I guess I can kind of see you have to buy it all up front so you can buy your games. And they say with the Flex Club, the other incentive is waiving fees with processing Ticketmaster fees or whatever, fees about anything, making people work that do tickets. I know we all have to get paid, but you think the price of the ticket might, factor that in already. Just saying. But that's just my review of the Flex Club. I didn't buy one, and now that we're into February, and looking like I got a busy few months ahead with other activities. And, you never know how your workload plays out. I mean, it's getting busier at work, which is good based on products and, personnel moving in and out. And then me personally, I am going to take some time off, family day weekend, but I have other activities planned, and then going to March, from March break, going to Toronto. That's why a lot of the Roughneck games that are on the schedule weren't, I'm not going to be able to attend, and it did justify even more why I canceled my season tickets, because there's no point having season tickets if you can only go to one, maybe two games. Dress like an empty seat party every game. Well, I can't fund that anymore, so that's all I have for Flex Club. So I just want to say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I have my other social links down in the description below. Still appreciate the time that Tristan, Swindon, who I was in contact with this whole time, but just between my financial commitments and schedule, it just didn't quite work this season. But always keep seasons down the road now that I know this is available, that I think a lot of the time, if I can be able to buy a club card in the fall and go a few games in the fall, and then hopefully a better Roughneck schedule that can make it less bunched up. So I just want to say thanks for watching. Go Calgary Sports, and I'll see you in the next video.